Alright, hey guys. So since I don't think I'll be able to look in front of a camera for over 5 minutes, I'm just gonna do my vlog with this game in the background. This is We Happy Few. It's kind of like the Society of 1984, where you got somebody always watching you, and you have to adhere to society standards, or else you got problems. So the first question is Winston sane or insane? And I'm gonna give a really neutral answer and say that it depends on the situation. Simply because, you can say that somebody's insane, but then in their mind they'll believe that they're sane. So I think it depends on the situation. If we're talking about right at the end of the book, through the eyes of O'Brien or something like that, I think Winston has gone completely mad because he's just acting completely out of order. He's just a real weirdo, doing everything wrong. That, in O'Brien's eyes at least, is not right, because in his eyes, everything has to be perfect. You have to, follow the rules of the society, love Big Brother, and all that. So in that case, yes, O'Brien has gone completely insane, or Winston's gone completely insane. But I think if you look at it through just a societal standpoint, Winston's fine. While throughout the book he never, really went out in public and just, went out and just said, hey, down with Big Brother and all. He still acted as if he was part of the society, doing his thing, but he still kept in the back of his mind that, he didn't really like what was going on. He was different. But his normal actions were sane, completely fine. And to him, too. He probably thought that everything he was doing was fine, because, well, in his eyes, the right thing for him is to act against the society and voice out his opinions.
What did I want to be when I grew up? I can't remember.
The second part of it is, how does our society determine what is sane and insane? And that's kind of what I said before. I think when our society came to be, based off of what human nature is, we all came up with just a general consensus of what sane and insane is. That if you're following the rules of the society, you're not acting out, you're not being a weirdo, a creep, or anything like that, you're right in the head and all, you're, I guess, can be labeled as sane, because you're following the rules and everything. But if you look at like a serial killer standpoint, they believe that they're sane too, but because in their eyes and in their world, they are completely fine, and they are following what they believe is right, and to them that's sane. And I guess in a serial killer's eyes, or maybe if Winston was in our society today, against us, he would probably think that we're completely insane, but he's fine because he lives in his ideals, we live in ours.
Right.
And that's
Where do you
that
think you're
comparison.
going? This is a municipal work site, and you're not a municipal worker, are you? Huh? So
And
clear
that
off.
also leads into the third point, which I probably also answered. If one person believes in an idea or creed that's different than another person, is that person insane? In this book's case, yes, definitely, because the society has such strict standards on what's good and what's bad, that if you're any way out of the line, you're done for, because you're just acting different. You're not doing what you should be doing. You're going out and you're saying down with Big Brother. You're thinking, which is the worst. Which is what the worst thing you could do is. You're thinking, and you're just going against what everybody else. Yes, while they're forced to believe in it, they're still believing in it. And by going against that, to society, Winston is insane, and maybe even partially to Julia, Winston could be insane because he's just acting really weird. He's not, even though Julia kind of shares his views, he still, in a way, is insane to Julia. So the second question, should a government restrict personal freedoms in order to decrease violence and crimes? And if so, to what extent? And where do we draw the line and why? I think if you do let a government restrict personal freedoms, at the end of the day, that would be its own crime in itself. I think a lot of societies are built on that, everybody needs to be free and equal, and by having a government just take away all of your personal freedoms, technically they're already doing that crime by themselves. Which is something that I read online when I was looking through these discussion questions, was that somebody said that by stopping crime, by creating the society of Big Brother, the society itself is committing the crime. The party's committing the crime, even though they're working to stop crime. They're already committing the biggest crime itself. And I think that's where you should draw that line, that you shouldn't let a party or some just higher person
I remember when they
dictate
came back
everything in
from
life.
London. Mum wouldn't stop crying
In
for
that
a
sense, I
week.
think democracy is great.
All Percy
because
could talk about was a train.
You can all vote to come up with what kind of rules and laws that you want to live by. And then, if you got the mass vote, what everybody believes in, then there you go. Everybody believes in that. And then if you restrict something that everybody believes is right, then they believe it's right and you restrict it. But given in the society of Big Brother, there isn't even an option for it. There's no point. And that's already the biggest crime right there. They're stopping all thought, which is an even bigger crime than what anybody else could do, because, well, they're stopping what everybody else can do because they just want to have this perfect society in their eyes. But to any kind of random citizen, and even could be in the eyes of the proles, they're just the party's committing the biggest crime by keeping all the proles down under everybody else, by basically taking control of the middle class and making them the puppets pretty much, and just creating the society that's restricted everything you could do. That in itself is a crime. So to answer that question, I think governments should attempt to attempt to restrict personal freedoms, but given that if a majority of the people agree that they want to do that. Because if anything else, then the government itself is just committing that crime. That they're stopping you from being, basically, I guess you could say, free. They're stopping you from being free, and they're restricting your freedoms to decrease the violence, but then the party itself will turn around and just do more violence behind the doors. Obviously, you got Room 101 and all the torturing that Winston had to go through. Even though nobody sees that in the public eye, it's still there. That's a crime. It's violent. It's really violent what happened to Winston, but nobody knows about it, and that's all hidden in the guise that we're just keeping everything safe. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to answer those two questions because those were the two questions that I understood the most. Winston's sanity kind of depends on the situation most of the time, even though as maybe in general, societally, he's kind of insane, but to him, and maybe Julia maybe even partially O'Brien, he could be sane in some ways, at least. Not every way, but sane in some ways. And for the second question, the government should attempt to restrict personal freedoms, but only if everybody else agrees to do so as well, because only then will it be fair. I guess you could say fair. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.